Bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-da-dum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-da-da-dum.
It's too early for general thoughts.
General thoughts.
This can be very confusing to new listeners. So if you are a new listener, this is the Comic Lyric podcast.
Cue the music.
Please do not be deterred.
Hello and welcome to the Comic Literate Podcast, the podcast where we comically
and literally
review comics. As always, I'm your host Jamie, and I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, who's sometimes known as Comic Stan.
Yeah, I might actually change that name soon. I might go off. I think I've got a different one lined up. So.
Do you know what? I've never been able to successfully find your YouTube channel by searching for it,
well,
so you definitely need a different new YouTube handle.
Yeah, I'm going to use a new one. Anyway, stay tuned for that. But as I said, if it is your first episode of the Comic Lyric podcast, this is the podcast where, as my co-host eloquently put it, good catchphrase there, comically and literally. I like that.
It's almost like you wrote it.
It almost is. So, yeah, we review comics, and it's a dark time of year, as it normally is around this time of year.
Because we've just finished Marvchul.
Because it is the end of Marvchul last week.
Well, I love that we've had February.
Yep.
We've had Marvchul. And now we're doing DC Marvel crossovers.
Yeah.
Is it DC Marvel crossover April? Is that what it is?
Well, we can't do that because there's only one, and they release like one every couple of months in this period while they're doing it.
But I'm sure there'll be like a wealth of them if we go historical.
Yeah, there is historical ones, but there's...
they're not very good.
Well...
They're just not that good, Ryan.
I mean, they're not the best comics, like, by far, but there are some fun ones. There's amalgamation comics, or called amalgam comics, where they combine characters. The only one I know off the top of my head is Batman and Wolverine that was called something like Dark Claw, I think, or something like that. We could do that in
Dark
the future.
Claw sounds like a pretty serious high-level sex move.
Yeah, I mean, if you give them Dark Claw, you definitely want to make sure you've prepped and lubed.
Fucking A, yeah. That sounds like it could lead to some pretty serious anal chafing. Right, we're 2 minutes in, Ryan.
And you've already mentioned anal chafing.
Nothing useful has happened. New listeners
Someone has definitely turned off this episode like, this podcast is not for me.
This podcast is fucking weird, man.
And if that is you, absolutely fair enough. We're not for everyone. We've never pretended to be, so that's fine.
So what are we talking about this week?
Well, to temper the withdrawals of Marvchul, we are still a little bit in the Marvel area.
Yeah.
But we're doing the Superman-Spider-Man crossover.
We are.
And this is an interesting one, because we have covered the first Batman-Deadpool crossover.
Yeah.
There was a second one, which I read, and it was the one where the main story was written by Grant Morrison, and it wasn't great, and I don't remember anything else from, the other little stories afterwards.
Yeah.
So we didn't cover that. But now we're back with Superman, Spider-Man.
Well, I think you should cue the music and we should get into it.
I mean, we're just going to go story by story, so we're just going to be in general thoughts for each of our stories. And because we're in that area...
Well, I'm going to give you general thoughts for the whole thing.
I mean, the general thoughts whole thing is we're still going to inevitably talk about each story. And hopefully, if it actually plays this time... All right, that's enough.
I fucking hate that you still play that into the microphone off your phone.
But isn't that like a quaint little quirk of the podcast, you know?
No, it's
You've decided it's not.
It's poor craftsmanship, and I resent putting my name to something where we do that.
Okay, listeners, if you like the general thoughts theme being played off my phone, write in comiclyric@gmail.com or comment on one of the Spotify episodes and tell us how you feel.
That being said, this week, we are previewing for the first ever time a couple little bits of musical interlude and an outro that I've written and laid down. I recorded them recently, so if you like those, I also learned how to play the Brigadier's March, which is the music we use for general thoughts. If you want to hear Brigadier's March Jamie's version next week, just let us know, because I am happy to spend 20 minutes in Reaper and record that, because I very much enjoyed learning it.
And it's a good thing you remind me about the other music, because I would have forgotten to put that in if you hadn't mentioned on the recording.
I worked really bloody hard on that.
Oh, I know, and I appreciate it, but you of all people cannot get someone else for forgetting to do something, can you?
No, that's kind of my thing. Anyway, general thoughts.
What did you think? I mean, obviously the main event, Spider-Man, Superman. What did you think of it?
Bang average is fine.
Yeah, same.
And this is the issue with these things. There is the initial moment of, That's Peter Parker and Clark Kent doing newspaper stories together because they're both journalists.
Which was a clever, like, oh, they do both do that.
And this is going to be the meat of my review, is the premise. So we'll get into that later. But once you get over that and then you see them in the suit together and Spider-Man makes a little quip about like, oh, do you do this to Batman? That's kind of it. And that's all it needs to be and it's all it wants to be. It's all it aspires to be. And that's fine, but we have to review it as a piece of fiction.
Yeah.
Mid.
Quite,
just like so middle of the road. I almost feel that we need to have some other stuff lined up to pad this episode out because it is that bang average.
I've got more to say about the shorter supplementary stories than I do about this main one.
Good thing I definitely read those really carefully in a lot of detail.
Well, I'll tell you all about them.
I do have some questions about one of them.
Okay. Well, that's content. That's content. We could do that.
So should we go into the arting, starting with the arting?
I mean, it's a bit different each. Like, the only art that I even paid really any attention to was in the later ones, which we'll mention when we get to them. This one was very DC House style. Like,
it was, wasn't it? And so this, I always,
it was consistent with how other Superman comics are. So it's good for that.
When they do these, is it a case that Marvel will now also get to do a Spider-Man and Superman and they'll produce it?
Yeah, so
they basically loan each other one of their characters for an issue each.
I mean, they're all co-produced. Literally, the only reason they do both is that DC gets to sell one and Marvel gets to sell one.
It's about who gets the money, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially. And I think that's just for simplicity. And I think they've swapped on like who gets the first one out, because that first Batman Deadpool one, like that was I saw that like everywhere online and stuff, like people were talking about it. Second one, I didn't see barely anything about that. So
it's because they're not very good.
Yeah, but even if we're comparing these within like themselves, like of this run of these crossover stories, I think the best one is from the first one, the Captain America Wonder Woman. Like that was the best one. Written by Zdarsky, so fair enough. But in terms of the main event ones, I think the first Batman Deadpool one was my favorite of these like
I can't remember it.
It was a bit of fun with Deadpool like out crazing the Joker and Batman kind of twisting Joker to be like actually this Deadpool guy, I think he's more my nemesis than you are. And Joker's like, how dare you? And like it was a bit of fun. And Deadpool criticizing billionaire Bruce Wayne and Bruce Wayne being like, I'm not that like type of billionaire. It's like, oh, who's this? Alfred? Is he your mate? No, he's your brother. Like that was fun stuff.
Yeah, no, that was fun stuff. So speaking of the art in this, I liked the way that Spider-Man was drawn. I think it really cuts down to like the core of how similar DC and Marvel really are in their house styles, because this could have been a Marvel comic and I would have gone, yeah, that's a Marvel comic.
Yeah, I think their main titles, and maybe you could extend it to like just the people who the artists they promote to their main titles are normally like doing a consistent style that they appreciate, and that's why they pick them.
I wonder if DC and Marvel would make a lot more money if they did just become one big amorphous lump of comic book creation.
I think they have a little bit of like hidden monopoly or duopoly, I guess you'd call it, because like if you like they trade places in terms of like who's on top. I think if they both combined and just did all the same stuff together, people would get more tired of them if they not like peak all the time and would go to third parties, whereas at least now they kind of trade like who's in the lead for like comic sales and stuff. So it's like, well, DC's doing really well right now, but maybe Marvel will get back next year and then it'll be DC again. So like when you're just trading first place to each other, I think that's more beneficial.
When we first started podcasting, Marvel was definitely on top.
I think so, yeah.
And then just recently, DC has been the front runner, hasn't it?
Yeah,
even
definitely.
Despite the Ultimates being so good.
But because Ultimates is one of the few things, and it's ending.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. So, yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I mean, I think to a certain degree, it's interesting that they do this because there is that rivalry there. But I suppose they kind of know that they coexist and that actually most comic book fans will claim to have a preference for one over the other, but also they like stuff from both sides. Like you and I think would both, if asked, say that we tend towards Marvel.
Yeah, but then a lot of our favorite characters and more my favorite characters are Marvel, but our favorite comics and stories are DC.
And my two favorite superheroes are both DC.
Exactly, yeah. But it'd be so weird if you met someone who was like, I love Marvel and I hate DC. I'd be like, why? Like, I get a preference.
So I talk to people about comic books a disproportionate amount now. because if I meet a new person, I'm meeting people I wouldn't otherwise socialize with because I'm going to like parent groups and stuff. And so the thing we have in common isn't something that we would. The thing we have in common is that we both have kids, not, you know, and so when they go, oh, I'm into comics, I go, oh, wow, that's interesting. I'm also into comics. I have a comic book podcast. What are you into? And a lot of them are quite strongly like, oh, no, I like Marvel. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I think Nightwing looks great shirtless. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but that fucking,
decides your favorite.
But that DC Woman of Tomorrow comic's pretty fucking lit. Like,
yeah. But I think, like we said, we've had preference with Marvel just because, like, it really just comes down to like the vibe of their characters and universe.
Yeah.
But it's stuff that's been set in stone over decades. It's not like Marvel's doing better right now or DC's doing better right now. But it's pointless even being like one's better than the other or whatever.
Well, they're both so much of a muchness, and I think these crossover titles really highlight that.
I think that the biggest appeal of these crossover titles is, look, characters who don't normally interact because they're in separate companies are interacting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can do more with them. Like, again, the Wonder Woman, Captain America one by Zdarsky, I think was a really good like celebration of both the characters and an interesting story. But they only got like so many pages, like barely any to tell a proper story. But it felt like a big story because he painted this big universal picture of like the crossing of universes.
Yeah.
So it is possible to do stuff, or even little ones. Like, what's the one in the first one? Bloody Jeff the Shark and Crypto the Dog.
Yeah.
Like just a fun little like low stakes. Who cares?
Low stakes, wordless thing.
Yeah, just enjoyable. So like, there is scope to be creative and do good stuff. I think the editorial are overbearing in the main stories, and I think that's why they come out mostly as bland as they are.
And I think these inherently are going to be even more bland than mainline stuff, because at least in the mainline stuff, the editorial have ultimate oversight.
Yeah.
But so in this instance, Marvel have ultimately given DC the right to write a Spider-Man story. So they have given their main competitor the right to do an issue of a comic book which features their main character.
Basically.
I imagine the legal wording that goes with that agreement would be War and Peace. I imagine, solicitors were involved in drafting this agreement.
I don't know.
And so, fucking yeah, mate. What, Marvel letting somebody do something with Spider-Man?
Here's the thing. Like, I get why you'd think that, but the reason I suspect, and I'm not even arguing it's definitely not the case, but why I think it probably isn't, is just because, for one thing, who owns both companies, Disney owning Marvel, Warner Brothers owning DC, they don't give a shit about the comics, to the extent that unless it's like, oh, you've made a character for us we can make a movie out of, thanks. Like, that's...
Okay, so the parent companies don't care.
Yeah.
But the parent companies aren't in charge of Marvel and DC day to day.
No.
They are self-governing entities who care deeply about these characters because they are their cash cows.
Yeah, and then you
can't create a new superhero with nearly 100 years of heritage overnight. And so I can almost guarantee that this isn't done on a fucking gentleman's handshake agreement.
No, and this
is going to have been agreed by committee as to what Spider-Man is allowed to say in a DC comic, right? Yeah. And there will be fucking reams of legal wording as to what Spider-Man is and isn't allowed to do. Because ultimately, if DC could do whatever they want, Spider-Man would walk in, get fucking laid out by Superman, and the next page would be Spider-Man is shit.
But so is the other point, is that so many people jump ship between Marvel and DC. So the people who are making all these decisions are people who they love Superman and worked on him, and then they just came off Spider-Man and writing him like...
Yeah, but ultimately, as we know, they don't get a lot of autonomy.
No, and this was going to be my third point. The legal wording, whatever rules they have for what characters can and cannot do, I think they're already in place in-house. So when it comes to the crossover, it's like, there's your rules, here's our rules, cool. Like, I don't think it was a big, like, here's where we decide, like a divorce fucking, like, here's where we can... I think
that's what it was. I like to imagine there were, like, 8,000 solicitors in a fucking football field.
No, I think they were just like, have you got your set rules? And it's like a template, like the Spider-Man Bible that they've got and the Superman Bible they've got.
And those documents will exist, won't they?
And then they've just got a basic, like, right, no one gets beat up to more than the other. Like, no one gets... I think there was more discussion about what happens for the Fast and Furious characters because they actually had it written in legal documents that they all had to get like punched or kicked or whatever the same amount. That no one's character could get punched once more than the
Really?
other. Yeah. Vin Diesel, I think, started it, and then The Rock was like, well, he's going to do it, I'm going to do it. Then I think Statham was like, well, I'm not going to be the only one who's not doing it. So they had like a proper, like,
I suppose
we can only be punched to the same amount as everyone else.
I suppose the issue is in those films. By the way, huge fan of the first couple of Fast and Furious films. I think
but that's like saying, I like the black and white movies. Like, it's so far
well,
back.
they're night and day, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, the Fast and the Furious is a cop film set on the backdrop of LA street racing.
Yeah.
And then I think
they just went to space, I think, in the latest one.
Yeah. In Fast 5, they're like, oh, I'm going to drive this Honda Civic to the moon.
Look out, ludicrous, it's an alien. Like,
I've only seen the first 3.
Bindy's like, you may be another species, but to me, your
family.
Your familia.
Your family.
I just wrote Fast and Furious 11.
Is that what they're up to now?
I think the next one will be. Oh, it's 10 part 2 or some bollocks. I don't know.
What, like Final Fantasy?
Yeah, more like last Harry Potter film or Twilight films. Like, which it's not another film. It's part 2 of the last one. So anyway,
yeah. So comic. We've not really talked. Dude, the issue is I've been talking around the comic a little bit because, to be honest with you, the story is so bland.
Yeah, I mean, that was what I was going to talk about it. I mean, like, again, for the Batman and Deadpool ones, like, the first one, they did interesting stuff together and interacted with the Joker and craziness and all that. And at least in the second part of that, Grant Morrison, they did a really over-the-top meta thing where Batman and Deadpool were like they were being written into a story and they were trying to find the author, and maybe the author was Grant Morrison, and they did a lot of that stuff, which I didn't like, but I was like, it's still interesting. There's a
play. I mean, to be honest with you, that like that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
But there's a play from the 90s called 5 Characters Looking for an Author.
Oh yeah, and it was just a bunch of stuff happening. It wasn't that interesting.
I once wrote a meta play. Do you want to know what my meta play was?
Was it you trapped in a play?
No.
Was it you on a romantic meet cute with Dick Grayson?
No. Well, if I wrote a meta play now, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
So, but a meta play, by the way, is like a play where the characters are aware they're in a play.
Right.
My meta
like
play,
Deadpool in comics.
Exactly. Yes. So
or Superboy Prime, as we'll get to later.
My meta play, right? And I actually sort of took this to the Manchester Metropolitan University Dramatic Society to see if they'd be interested in putting it on. They were not. I wrote a play where Sean Bourne,
right,
and Sean Bean.
Okay, yeah.
Sean Bourne and Sean Bean were immortal beings, right? Who became aware that they were immortal because they were the fractured parts of Sean Bean, who dies in everything he's in. And so they had to find each other and reunite to become Sean Bean so that they could finally die. And I was so proud. And it was a full 3-act play.
And you're saying someone didn't want to put that on.
And you know, the Manchester Metropolitan University were not interested in putting it on. I think they did Cats.
I mean, Cats the musical is pretty popular.
But to this day, I've lost it now. It's like, it'll be on a hard drive in landfill. Like, my computer died and I never backed it up.
Well, put it this way, if you recreated it, if you rewrote it, I'm almost certain it would be better than what you originally wrote, because it sounds like it's impossible to have made it worse.
it was magical. And I just sort of went and I was like, is there anyone here from Yorkshire?
I need 2 of you.
Yeah, I need 2 of you from Yorkshire.
If you can look similar, that'd be great.
Who both look a bit like Sean Bean.
No, just similar to each other.
No, they have to look like Sean Bean.
It's almost like you don't want this play to do well.
Well, ideally, my ideal casting, it would have been a movie and both characters would have been played by Sean Bean.
I mean, if you can get Sean Bean into a play that you're making fun of his name, like, almost certainly he'd sign on for that. Like, hang on, the lowest budget possible play, and you're taking the piss out of my name. Sign me up.
Sign me up. I mean, because
sign me up. I don't know.
No, he's from Yorkshire.
Yeah,
sign me up, lad. No. Why have I done Kit Harington pretending to be Sean Bean and not Sean Bean?
I was at that story. Kira Harrington's like, can you do a Yorkshire accent? No, why? It's like, well, Sean Bean is doing a Yorkshire accent and you're a son. So.
Oh, yeah, they said Sean Bean turned up to a table read and they were like, we're doing it in received pronunciation. And Sean Bean went,
no,
I'm fucking not. I'm fucking not. And they were like, right, you're all playing it Northern then.
Anyway, so with this comic, I agree with you entirely. It is so middle of the road. Like, I always like feel bad using the comparison of like, it's kind of like ChatGPT wrote it.
Do you think?
I mean, it's not that much better. Like, I think AI might do more interesting things with their combining powers. The most they do here is at one point, Superman needs to go into a burning building, and because he's being affected by this Brainiac Doc Ock ray or whatever, the Spider-Man needs to cover him in his webbing to protect him in the building. For one thing, I don't think his webs are fireproof. I don't think that's ever been a thing.
Yeah.
2, Superman, even in a weakened state, is like powered by the sun. So fire, I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue, even in a weakened state.
So, in terms of like the actual structure of this story,
vary by the numbers.
Well, in terms of plot points, it's just bobbins, right? Like, we're aware of this.
The plot is fairly irrelevant.
Yeah. I think the only thing that's really interesting about this is the way they break the mold of the kind of convention that we've come to expect with these types of stories, where there's that initial moment of like adversarial, they have a fist fight, and then they realize that like, oh, we're both powerful beings. I mean, let's team up.
If they had a fight of any kind, I think Spider-Man would literally be like when you swat a spider with a newspaper.
Yeah, he'd get wrecked, son.
Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man is obviously more powerful than a human. He's certainly not more powerful than fucking Superman.
To Superman, he is human.
Yeah.
Like, who shoots webs. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a strong human that shoots webs. And so they start out doing a journalism together.
Yeah.
How they met, we don't know. But they're doing a journalism together.
Well, they know each other. I was surprised they knew each other's secret identities immediately. Like, Superman just breaks out the S, and I'm like, fuck no, you're trusting of this Peter Parker fella. And then Peter Parker's like, oh, we're changing to our superhero costumes now. I was like, oh, you guys know each other.
Yeah.
Like that, you know each other.
But jumping in media res and just saying they know each other, it's not important why. I kind of prefer that because at least it gets us into the meat of the story quicker.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a point where as they're doing journalism, they're speaking to this scientist like, oh, we've improved this ray or whatever it is by using a different element. We're now using kryptonite. And the way Clark Kent was like, like in his Clark Kent gear, and it's like, Peter Parker turning to look at him, and I made it because again they hadn't revealed that they know each other at this point. I was like, hell of a poker face, Ken. There, like kryptonite, kryptonite.
Oh
like,
yeah, dear.
Just real zero poker face at all. But then it didn't matter after that anyway. I mean, maybe the scientist was like, that Clark Kent was very shocked by my kryptonite reveal.
Yeah,
I wonder if that has anything to do with him being the same size and shape as Superman. Who knows?
Yeah,
but yeah, I was surprised by that. I tell you what I think my favorite thing from this comic was.
Yeah.
So they do an interesting thing. I don't think it's that actually. They've probably done a bunch where they fight each other's villains without even planning or realizing it. Superman is fighting Doc Ock with kryptonite infused tentacles, which is the only way that can be any kind of difficulty at all. And Spider-Man fights Brainiac, which is again like Spider-Man fighting Superman because Brainiac fights Superman a lot. But Brainiac can't hit Spider-Man because he's moving too fast and his spider sense, and he comes out with the line, Brainiac says something like, oh, your reflexes are really good, like why can't I hit you? And Spider-Man's like, well, you know what they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And I was like, that's the best thing in this entire story.
Well, that, and then the bit where Spider-Man said, basically Spider-Man makes a truth, justice, and the American way joke.
Yeah. And
Did you clock that?
Yeah, and Clark Kent's like, Superman's like, what? Like,
well, he just sort of takes a minute. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. And it's like, nice. They referenced a really popular Superman story and kind of quietly moved on from it. And Superman wasn't like, you're actually referencing one of the darker moments in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, they nodded to it and then they cracked on and it was all wonderful.
But then all the stuff they do after that, like, one point, Clark Kent is Superman. I don't know what... get like interchanging between like their secret aliases and this, as if I know them personally, like, oh, Clark. But Superman stops a falling ship from hitting Metropolis. Bread and butter Superman stuff, like one per story. But then Spider-Man is trapped under rubble. And this is like, it's just a repeat of an iconic Spider-Man moment. But they've not even, apart from him talking to Superman on presumably some intercoms or whatever in their ears or something, like they just do a thing that Spider-Man did before. So I've just Googled it just to show Jamie if you hadn't seen. But this is like an iconic, like early, like 60s era Spider-Man thing where he's trapped under this fall of metal and he believes in himself and he manages to lift it off him.
The power of friendship.
This was the power of believing in himself because he was alone. There weren't any friends to give him friendship. But they just do this again. But he's talking to Superman while he does it. And it's like, that is just, it's just like, what's a Spider-Man thing? Oh, he can do that while Superman's doing a Superman thing. Like, just them doing the things that they normally do every story, or they did once decades ago, and it's a famous thing, and they're just doing it concurrently. That's not crossover stuff, is it? It's just stuff happening. I think
there's so much scope here to do something new and interesting with this. Because, one of the ways that you can keep a comic book fresh is a new combination of superheroes. Like, their powers complement each other in different ways. And if you gave this to a young writer and said, by the way, you're writing a Spider-Man comic, Superman can be in it. And you gave it to like an up-and-comer and a grid artist, and they did something really interesting in it. I mean, fucking give this shit to the Ice Cream Man boys.
But here's the thing. For as much as I was downplaying like your army of solicitors doing a War and Peace contract for what they can and can't do. I do think at a bare minimum they're only so I haven't even read credits or anything, but this was given to Mark Waid, who is like he's been with DC for like quite a few years now recently.
It's
like
somebody that, and I imagine there's a conversation with Marvel and they go, it has to be one of your guys. It can't just be some random staff writer. It's like
someone they both agreed on.
Yeah, it has to be one of your guys that we also know and trust.
Yeah, exactly. So that, like, as much as I would love if they gave it to like some new up-and-comer who's doing actually interesting stuff, I do think that both Marvel and DC would be like, I mean, they're not even going to, even outside of crossovers, they're not going to give, I was about to say, they're not going to give the Ice Cream Guy Superman. They did, but for like an other world, like you're over here, you're not doing the main run kind of.
Yeah.
And this is to them like as important as the main run of comics.
Well, because I imagine these are hugely profitable.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But again, it's that big business, like especially in the entertainment industry. If they think it's going to be big, they make it as middle of the road safe as possible because they're trying to appeal to the most people, and then you inevitably get just the blandest stuff. Like that's just entertainment and fiction in a nutshell, isn't it? Really.
Anyway, going kind of through them. I don't necessarily want to talk about every story in detail because I don't think most of them warrant it.
I don't have like detail to say. I think
I do. So Lois Lane and Mary Jane is fine.
Yeah, written by Tom King.
Yeah, I know.
Surprising.
Not his best work.
I think he did what it deserved. Like, I wasn't...
Yeah, but we've seen him knock it out of the park on things like this.
Yeah. And again, maybe he was just given a mandate.
We have seen him knock things like this, like...
He took Batman Elmer Fudd.
Batman Elmer Fudd?
Yeah.
Like, Batman Elmer Fudd fucking slapped. It had no business being as good as it was.
But then there's the difference. Was that we know was him being like, I've got an idea. Yeah. Like, he had the inspiration.
And the other thing is... DC are okay with giving him big characters, and the Looney Tunes guys.
I mean, the last time they gave him a big character, it was a Batman run that was considered controversial. So
yeah, but in general, they are.
Yeah, he did Woman of Tomorrow, and that's being made into a film.
Yeah, exactly. The other side of that is Looney Tunes, who are just like, oh, you want us? We're going to get some Elmer Fudd money. We've not had any Elmer Fudd money since 1976.
Yeah.
We'll have some of that, please. Do whatever you want with him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They didn't give it. I mean, Tom King made Elmer Fudd like a noir, depressed alcoholic detective kind of thing. But
it's the first Elmer Fudd money they would have made in many, many years.
Darling, the Elmer Fudd envelope is full.
Do you know, like, that's how actors used to get their royalties? They'd just get checks in the mail and it'd be like 70 cents.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they used to make big money off the royalties, like TV shows and stuff, like repeats. And now, because of streaming, they don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's not a thing.
It's different. It works differently.
Yeah.
Also, I think there was one of the Disney actors who's a bit insane, and he was like, do you know...
You have to narrow it down a little bit.
They're all a bit insane. But he was like, do you know, when they start streaming our stuff on the moon, I don't get any money because my rights only work on Earth. And I'm like, dude... If they're streaming fucking Drake and Josh onto the moon, I think we've got bigger issues.
Is Drake and or Josh getting the correct royalties? That is what I care about most in this scenario. The only thing that I thought was interesting with the Lois Lane marriage... Also, one thing that's interesting across all of this is with the other crossovers, it was just a bunch of people from Marvel, bunch of people from DC. I didn't realize till I was looking at a list of stories. I was like, this is very Superman, Spider-Man centric.
Other than the last one.
Yes. But even that is relevant. So the last one's Power Girl and Punisher. Power Girl, we think, is a Kryptonian. We've debated this.
They're both adjacent, aren't they? Because Punisher and Spider-Man would know each
Punisher
other.
first appeared in a Spider-Man comic.
Yeah.
So he's kind of technically a Spider-Man character, but not really.
Was he Rogues Gallery? Was that it? Was he a bad guy?
Yeah, he was a kind of that interesting villain for a week because he turned up to hunt down Spider-Man because I think Spider-Man had been falsely accused of killing someone. So Punisher's just like, I'm going to kill him because he killed someone. But I was just surprised that they found all these ancillary characters to cross them over. And I think there are interesting ones we'll get to later. But
my question for you, and again, it kind of gets us away from Lois Lane and...
I mean, in regards to that, I was just going to say, I was surprised how many things they found, like commonalities and stuff.
Yeah.
Mary Jane addressing the fact that all people ever mention is the face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot quote. And she's like, I'm so fucking sick of people bringing that up. And it's like, like a lot of that does get brought up a lot when people talk about you. And I can see why, as a character, you'd be sick of that. There's also the thing where both Spider-Man and Superman have ex-college girlfriends who there's some tragedy or they still pine over or something in a little bit.
Is Spider-Man's Gwen Stacy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously tragedy because he accidentally killed her because Goblin dropped her off a bridge and he shot his web. And his web, stopping her mid-air, cracked her neck, and that's what killed her.
Oh, yeah. Is it canon that he killed Mary Jane with his radioactive cup?
No, that's a awful fucking Spider-Man story. It was set in the future, so it's not canon, is it?
I don't know. They did it.
If it's in the future, they'll be like, that didn't happen now.
They
Something
did it.
Changed. It happened in a potential future that no longer exists. Except they did a sequel to that story.
Except that it does exist because you can still the issue exists.
And you can read and you can listen to our episode about that comic.
Yeah.
Where we focus mainly on that point.
Well, yeah, because it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So after the Lois Lane Mary Jane story, Gambit appearance in
I know.
that, though.
I got really excited when I saw this because you did that video on Gambit.
Yeah. It's my one successful video. I made a note. I thought the Gambit was at least going to attempt to rizz up Lois Lane and MJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he didn't even try.
He just didn't. And it's such a wasted potential. Although whenever I see Gambit now, I do hear Channing Tatum go, I'm going to make a name for myself here. I always hear it.
That was a common comment on my Gambit video.
Was it?
About to make a name for myself.
Yeah.
The other guy was, I've been raised what was it? I've been ready since the day I shot at my daddy's dick. Deadpool's like, gross.
Because he's not French, is he? He's from New Orleans?
Yeah.
Creole?
Louisiana, I think. He's Cajun.
Yeah, he's Cajun. Yeah. Cajun country. So Louisiana, New Orleans kind of area. Because you got the Cajuns and the Creoles there, haven't you?
There's probably some either Louisiana or New Orleans people who are listening who are probably like, by God, that's not how I said. That's not where I'm from.
Well, if we've got it wrong, Americans, please do leave a comment with a 5-star review.
Yes.
Just let us know.
Telling us that these guys do not know American geography. Because you'd be absolutely correct.
I like Cajun food.
One of the rare times I've had it, I enjoyed it. So
I used to make jambalaya a lot.
Jambalaya?
Jambalaya.
You got to say it in the... It's like when you said... What was it the one time you said paella? And
paella.
You went... Paella! And I was
paella.
I was like, you're just embarrassing yourself. It sounds weird when you break into an accent to say one word.
I need to go get some chorizo so I can make some paella.
I can't remember if it was the paella or the chorizo which pissed me off.
Chorizo. I think you need to get some culture.
And break into that culture for one word at a time.
Yeah, one word at a time.
And people will appreciate that you put the extra accent when it's needed. So yeah, the raging Cajun Gambit just turns up for a bit because they're fighting a Sentinel, so they had to put in one mutant at least.
Yeah.
There is a fun thing where Spider-Man gets confused with mutants a lot, or a lot of people think he's a mutant for some reason.
Why isn't he a mutant?
Because he got bit by a radioactive spider.
And then mutated.
Yeah, but mutant in this term is born a mutant.
Yeah, okay.
He's
Except for the ones that aren't.
What do you mean ones that aren't?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, it's really close to when they were born, maybe. I don't think they were, they were quite young when they got here, so it's pretty close.
No, they were normal turtles, and then some
young
stuff happened.
Normal turtles, really young.
And they were mutated.
Yeah.
Although the exact same thing happened to Matt.
Yeah, you could say Daredevil's mutated in a sense.
And he's not considered a mutant, so I'm okay with it.
But then again, Spider-Man's not considered a mutant, but it's funny that he gets, in the Marvel Universe, he gets confused for a mutant.
When the X-Men was super popular in the 90s, he would turn up in X-Men stuff, wasn't he? Because he was a popular character they had, and they were their most popular comics.
Yeah, Spider-Man was, and they were trying to big up the X-Men comics. So
yeah, so Spider-Man would turn up in X-Men comics, and it was kind of a way to roll everything together, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he turned up and they crossed over, their 90s cartoons crossed over.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's like, because he's mutating the time. Again, still not a mutant, but it's when he was on his way to becoming Man-Spider, which might be a thing in the new... Have you seen the new Spider-Man trailer?
Dude, I don't...
I'll show you after this.
I'm not terminally online anymore, am I?
Yeah, but you still see you have a weird phone that doesn't play videos as well anymore, do you?
Yeah, like I spend a bit of time on YouTube.
I'll show you the Spider-Man trailer after this.
So honestly, mate, my digital diet, right, is nuzlocking old Pokemon games, and I do that on original hardware. So I'm like currently nuzlocking Pokemon Emerald, doing a hardcore nuzlock of Pokemon Emerald in my spare time. And then I watch a bit of YouTube about whittling, because that's what I'm currently into. And sometimes I'll watch guitar reviews. Like, I'm not like on the internet scrolling through dense walls of content anymore.
But also, this was a recent change. It's not like you don't do that generally. Like, you've made an effort to stop doing that recently.
I mean, it's been like nearly 6 months.
Yeah, compared to your life.
I mean, I'm wanking so hard my dick's going to fall off, but beyond that, I'm
Is that not the whittling?
Well. Yeah, I'm just sharpening it like a pencil.
Honey, I confused the wood with the wood.
Wrong wood, dear.
And I've made a whistle.
Oh, it's got a little, like a recorder with a little hole on the top. But yeah, no, so I'm not out there watching like random movie trailers.
Well, I will show you the trailer after this because I think you'll appreciate it.
But then I will have had screen time, and maybe I don't want that.
You're looking at screen right now.
Because I'm here. I'm just being polite. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Right. Our listeners, I will play in the Spider-Man trailer after this.
So, I had questions.
About this next one, the Amazing Spider-Man and Superboy Prime.
Who the fuck is Superboy Prime?
I've no fucking idea. Like,
well, why do I even have you here? What is even the point of you if you can't answer my niche superhero question?
Look, I can tell you one important thing about Superboy Prime. It's that he was the one that punched reality so hard that the reverberations, resurrected Jason Todd originally.
Shit, Superboy Prime is the reason we have Jason Todd.
I mean, he's canon reason why.
Fucking love him. Fucking... I'm all about Superboy Prime. He's great.
Yeah, I don't know barely anything about Superboy Prime. And they go, this meta story is very similar to what Grant Morrison did for Batman Deadpool.
Why is Spider-Man in a symbiote suit?
Because the story is Superboy, like, the story is messy because it's a bit of like quippy, like jovial conversation and big narrative stuff like we're in a comic book and we're going to break the reality seal and blah blah blah. But
to be honest with you, I read 2 panels of this and went, this is utter bobbins, and moved on.
Yeah, and understandable because not much happens other than they break out of the universe and whatever. But Superboy Prime is reading Spider-Man comics and he says at first, I like the black suit, so I thought I'd pop in like into the comic. And then it turns out that the High Evolutionary is wanted, he knew he was the one who trapped Superboy Prime or something, and he knew that the High Evolutionary would want a black suit Spider-Man for his collection or experiments or whatever. And Spider-Man's like, I can't believe you're betraying me just so you can escape. And then Superboy Prime's like, trick, I'm actually saving you and we're both going to escape and whatever. I literally read through this and at the end I was like, what I've just said, I don't know what's just happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a deep cut for people for only people who are Superboy Prime fans.
Also,
Really.
black suit that suit Spider-Man
Yes.
was Spider-Man as a symbiote. It wasn't a suit, was it? It was symbiote Spider-Man.
So originally it was, when it was first introduced...
We've talked about the black suit.
Yeah, when it was first introduced, it was just suit, and then it turned out because it was made of alien material that it was actually a symbiote, and then that led to Venom being created.
There we go.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So it's proto-Venom, is it?
Essentially, yeah. So the one after that, I will say, this was probably I'm going to say this is my second favorite. And
What was your favourite?
We'll get to it. But this one was Superboy and Spider-Man 2099. Now, apparently there's a Superboy in the future, in like the 30th century, and again, very loose knowledge of that. Spider-Man 2099, I know a bit of, but
Cool
maybe
suit.
this guy looks cool.
It's a cool suit, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's got like the sharpened talon fingers and that kind of stuff. But Spider-Man 2099 is one of the, like, he's literally just known, by and large, he's just known for like this variation of the Spider-Man suit and character, and that's kind of pretty much it. So,
is it a does he have a name? Is there any lore about him?
yeah, his name is Miguel something, but he was working for a corporation. They were doing experiments. I think they were trying to recreate the spider powers. He gets bit by the spider. He kind of turns into like a dark, futuristic version of New York, where he's like a corporate rebelling against the corporations, like that kind of stuff.
Well, isn't that dark?
Yeah. But, and again, when it was just Superman 2099 and Superboy, I was like, fair enough, like, weird future, they're going to fight for a bit or whatever. Then we get bloody Batman Beyond, and I bloody love Batman Beyond.
Yeah,
that's
you do.
Cool design. Like
I am less sold on it.
So my love of him comes from the cartoon as a child. Like, it was like the very late 90s, early
and I
90s.
definitely recognize him, even though I've not read any of the Batman Beyond comics.
Yeah. But what I liked about the story, like, it was a kind of like, there's a confusion, we're fighting for a bit. And then Batman Beyond turned up, and I was like, oh, cool. And then when Superboy Prime can hear old man Bruce Wayne in his earpiece, and old man Bruce Wayne was like, shit, I forgot he could hear me. I was like, that's good stuff. And I was starting to enjoy it. And then when it came out, I was like, why are you guys, like, because they're both in like the far future. Superboy's 30th century.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2099 is 2099. Batman Beyond takes place, I think back then it was like 2030. So like,
very soon.
Exactly. It's a Back to the Future situation. Where's my hoverboard? Like, it's that kind of stuff. We ain't got any of the
that was
technology.
2016, wasn't it? We were supposed to have
exactly.
hoverboards.
So they're both like, why are you back in time? It's like, well, we've both got mad tyrants who are in charge of our time. Spider-Man's is Doom of 2099, and Superboy Prime's is Lex Luthor, apparently. And they're like, why are you both back to this time? It's like, well, it turns out they both, we can trace back their power, like when they became these like global dictators or whatever, to a corporate merger that took place in the 2030s. So we're here to stop a corporate merger. And I was like, that's cool. I'm on board with that. This corporate merger somehow creates the technology that makes these like these evil dictators
autocratic societies.
And I was like, that's cool. And then the story ends as they were about to go stop this corporate merger. And this was the reason it's one of my favorites. This is the one where I went, I wanted more of this.
Yeah, fair enough. You wanted it to resolve.
I did not think I was going to have that reaction to any of these stories. I thought at most I was going to be like, that was fun. I enjoyed it. This is one I was like, no, come on. Like, hopefully continue this in the next one, like in the Marvel one.
You're going to have to go in the Marvel one.
I'm going to read it, so I'll tell you if it's any good or not. But yeah, so I have to rate this one highly purely because I wanted it to continue. That's the most I can say.
Yeah, I didn't dislike that one. I wasn't a big fan of the next one, the Jimmy Olsen one.
This is my favorite.
Really?
I thought this was stupidly fun. Like, I generally, I really, I mean, for one thing, this was by Matt Fraction. So I had kind of highish hopes already. I thought this was funny. Like, I thought the whole concept of this was funny. And for anyone not listening, it's Jimmy Olsen and Carnage, which they call Jimmy Con Carnage. Great. Like, great name.
Enough.
Fraction is an absolute menace when it comes to this kind of stuff. And Jimmy Olsen is in New York City, and he's like, and someone's like, you're here to take, well, he's talking to bloody J. Jonah Jameson, who says, what does he say?
Bring me Spider-Man.
Get me pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I thought you knew that at the very least.
Well, yeah, of course I did. You kind of caught me off guard, Ryan. Like,
wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, dude. Like, my brain kind of turned off for a minute because you were sort of doing a bit, so I just left you be.
Do you want to redo it, and I'll decide if I want to edit it as if it was smooth or not?
Yeah.
Or I might leave this all in. But he's talking to J. Jonah Jameson, who's like,
"Get me pictures of Spider-Man."
Exactly, as he does, or you're fired. And Jimmy Olsen, he's such a Superman fanboy that he doesn't know any other superheroes, apparently. And he's like, he knows of Spider-Man, but he asks someone else, like, so who am I looking out for? Spider-Man. And I thought you'd appreciate this. The fact that Jimmy Olsen goes to someone in New York City and it's like, I don't even know what Spider-Man looks like. And the guy goes, it's Spider-Man. Like, you're mispronouncing it. So Olsen must have said, I don't know Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And someone else has corrected him, but he must say Superman. Like, he's not Superman's best friend and calling him Superman, is he?
Well, I mean, you've reminded me that I used to do that.
I'm surprised you forgot. I think there was a point where I noticed you didn't do it, and I just wasn't going to remind you.
For anyone who's new to the podcast, for about 2 years, I insisted on calling Batman, Batman, and Superman, Superman.
And I did not fight you on that. It was only when you tried to say Spider-Man, and I made the exact same point.
And you were like, no, it's Spider-Man.
Exactly. So I thought, when I saw a bit in a comic, I was like, we've had that conversation. I thought that was fun.
I'm going to be honest with you. I may have very slightly checked out a little bit for the short ones.
Well, the good thing I'm here to tell you what you missed out on, because Jimmy Olsen, he just gets told, yeah, Spidey's like, he's reddish and he's like webby stuff or whatever. Yeah. Like, you can't miss him. So he's got running around New York trying to find pictures of Spider-Man, and he looks down an alley. He goes, reddish, web? Like, I think that's Spider-Man. Nope, it's Carnage, the alien-powered serial killer.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw...
So Carnage, because I've come across him briefly, I think, in a film.
Yeah, he was in the second Venom film.
So he's the bad guy in this. Is he also a symbiote?
Yes, so his symbiote is actually the offspring of the Venom symbiote, and they apparently reproduce asexually. So, but then that symbiote got attached to a known prolific sadistic serial killer, Cletus Cassidy.
And they're just having great fun together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's noticeable. There's a few iterations where Venom, they always refer to themselves as we. Venom, the Venom symbiote, and Eddie Brock. We are Venom, like their catchphrase. Carnage is notable because he just goes, I'm Carnage. And they went, oh, fuck. They're referring to themselves singular. Like, they are like real fucking close.
Yeah, they're bonded.
Exactly.
Although Eddie and Venom, like Eddie and the symbiote are quite good buds, aren't they?
Yeah, they're friends, but they're still separate. And they're separate entities who are friends and get along.
Yeah.
And you would say they're really close. I mean, one literally wears the other. But Carnage and Cletus are just like, do we kill people as one person? Yeah, go on then.
I'm amazed that Tom Hardy took that role.
He loves the Venom character.
Is he a big fan? You'd think he'd have held out for like...
No, he pioneered this. Like, it wouldn't have happened without him, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he instrumental in making it happen?
100%. And he's the best thing about the films.
Well, he's really good as Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
He's really good as Eddie Brock.
And he does the voice of Venom. And when they're having like these conversations between each other, like that was the funnest part.
Tom Hardy's good in everything, though. Venom's a weird one because it's not a very forgiving role.
Well, again, that's why he wanted it, presumably.
Yeah, because I suppose he is a character actor. He does take quite out there stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, they really messed up the ending of the second Venom film because they had a post-credits where, you remember Spider-Man No Way Out, Doctor Strange's spell, people get brought in from other dimensions and they get sent back again. They did these post-credits where Eddie Brock Venom got brought in, but he never interacted with all the main stuff going on. He was just hanging out in a bar, and then he gets sent back when everyone gets sent back, but he leaves a little bit of the Venom, of the symbiote on the bar, and someone like catches it in the glass. Yeah. So it's like this, like, oh, there's a bit of the Venom symbiote in the MCU universe. Then Sony makes Venom 3, and they go, oh, a bit of the symbiote was left in the bar in this universe and nowhere else. And it's like, Sony, you fucked this up so badly. Like, that didn't happen in your universe.
Yeah.
But you've just made it canon that it did.
Oh,
even though
dear.
you made it obvious it didn't happen in the post-credits. And it's like Sony is literally the Abe Simpson gif. Can't you go 5 seconds without embarrassing yourself? Doing, trousers down.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I think the whole like Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe split has caused just ample issues for both.
So when it comes to Spider-Man, I think they've nailed it. They've had difficulties and, rocky road and stuff, but the end product has been good.
So the new Spider-Man film, is it a Sony one?
Yeah, so all the Spider-Man films are technically Sony, but produced with Marvel. Kind of like a crossover in a sense. Yeah. But it's because Sony know, like, if Marvel help us make this, and we get the financial reward and everything else from these individual films, they use Spider-Man in their Avengers films.
And then they just get paid for nothing. Yeah. Then they're literally just getting paid for letting them use Tom Holland.
If they even get paid for it at all, because they could look at it as the success of the Spider-Man films, which is theirs, that's what they get for it.
Yeah, and I suppose Tom Holland showing up, I mean, it would have been so sick to have a Spider-Man in the original Avengers films. It would have been so dope.
But then, I mean, Civil War, we got it. We got it eventually.
We got it a little bit.
We got it Infinity War. He was pretty heavy in that.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
No Way Home is like... We never would have got, Maguire and Garfield and all that. If it was, the Marvel backing, literally backing up the money trucks. Garfield, I think, was just up for it. If he's asked, he's up for it. Maguire, I think, was the one they were like, come on, a lot of money. Come on.
And I think because Andrew Garfield's a cool dude. And Andrew Garfield would have just seen that script and gone, that's fun, and been up for it. Whereas I think Toby Maguire is a bit older and a bit more jaded, isn't he?
Crazy. This is a tangent. So skip ahead a couple.
Don't skip anything. It's all gold.
Hit that 30-second button a couple times if you don't want to hear this. But Maguire is a fascinating guy, I think, to me, because not only he was the first kind of major superhero actor star,
he's also one of the best ever.
Yeah, he's great mates with Leo DiCaprio, which is always a weird thing. They know each other. Yeah, they're best friends.
Oh, I suppose they did Gatsby together, didn't they?
No, they've been best friends since childhood. There's pictures of them as kids, or young men, teenagers. They did Gatsby because they're mates.
Yeah.
But he's also a great basketball player, apparently. Plays on the same celebrity league as Obama. And Leo. Apparently. But the most interesting thing, and then there was all the stuff with he became famous quite quickly and obviously didn't like it. Paparazzi were dicks to him, and there's the videos of him shouting at paparazzi because they were literally blocking his car, and he didn't handle it well, but it was a really awful thing that was happening to him. So I don't blame him for that at all. The really interesting thing about Maguire is apparently he is a ruthless card shark at poker, right? Did you know this?
No.
So there is a book that got turned into a film called Molly's Game, right?
Right.
And it's about this woman. I can't remember if she worked in a casino or what her job was, but basically she was hosting these private high-stakes poker games in hotel rooms, right? And it was her job to organize it, get the hotel room, make everything there. Professional barman, making them drinks and stuff.
Because it's a high-stakes poker game.
Exactly. And in the book, there is a character who's, I don't know how the book references them. In the film, they're played by Michael Cera. So you're just Michael Cera's the guy. Yeah. And he's but it's described as he's a famous celebrity, famous actor, everyone knows him. And he comes to these games and he destroys people.
He's very good at poker.
To the point that, and again, this is all from the book.
Isn't that stuff illegal in America?
Well, that's why they're these in certain states.
Yeah.
Depends what state you're in, but that's why they're presumably in these, smaller rooms and private and stuff. But to the point where, and again, this is just in the book and the films, and it's suspected that it's Toby Maguire.
Oh, so it's not confirmed.
No, but
Michael Cera is a very good casting for a young Toby Maguire.
Exactly. And I think it's one of those open secrets, but one of the ones that doesn't involve horrific crimes being done to people.
No, he's just he likes poker.
No, not just he likes poker. He would beat people so thoroughly that they lose all their money, and then he would spot them money to get back in the game just to continue beating them. Like,
Oh, so he knew they didn't have any money to pay him back. He would lend them more money and then they would lose it all to him again.
whether he would demand that money back or not, like, I would assume yes. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you're fucking gambling with me. Like, I'm not your friend. I'm gambling with you here.
But he would pay out of his pocket just to keep beating them. Like, he was that.
Hell.
I know. And that's like, for like us as kids being like, wow, Spider-Man. Like, and then knowing, like, as we're grown ups, like, Toby Maguire was cool Spider-Man. And he's just there making some adult in a business suit cry and take off his Rolex. So he's like, my kid's college fund. And he's like, take it off, bitch. Like, just that was happening at the same time. It's crazy, isn't it?
Mr. Maguire.
If you're listening, we know you are.
We know you listen. If you would like to publicly talk about your poker career, we would happily break that story for you. We are not journalists, and we are deeply pro Maguire. This won't be a hit piece. This won't be Louis Theroux talking to HS Tiki Toki. This is like pro Maguire. Your people can have absolute oversight over the episode. comicglitter@gmail.com. Give us an email.
It's the kind of thing, like, thinking about that I'm still kind of in awe of him for, like,
cool dude.
doing that stuff. Like,
cool dude.
I don't condone it, but it's on the list of crimes committed by rich celebrities. Like, beating people at poker is it's not even a crime. It's not even a crime, straight up. But in terms of, like, morally bad things to do, it's way low on the list of bad things.
Do you know what? A bunch of consenting adults making bad financial decisions, that's their fucking choice. They chose... The thing is, right, particularly if it was like an open secret and he was a known card shark.
Yeah.
And they walked in and saw Toby Maguire sat there.
They wanted to play with him. Like,
yeah, they could have just gone, you know what? I'm going to go home and watch The Office and have a wank. Like, they chose to be there and play poker, right?
Yeah.
You lose all of your money gambling. That is on you.
If I had the chance to lose all my money to Toby Maguire in a poker game, I'd be like, does it all need to be in bills, or because I've got to pay, got a few Lincolns. Like, well, we talk. What's the minimum here? But
a little got $20.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap up soon. But
yeah.
All I say is, like I was saying with the Olsen Carnage thing.
Yeah,
I liked how morbidly funny it was that he runs into Carnage, one of the most violent and sadistic characters in the Marvel universe. Gets seemingly disemboweled. I mean, he uses that word. And then he tries to contact Superman with his famous Superman signal watch.
Yeah.
And he's like, Superman will come save me. And then it comes up with firmware updating. And then he gets the picture of Carnage as he's looming over him, presumably about to enjoy sadistically torturing and killing him. And then the picture winds up on the front page. And James is just like, yeah, this is Spider-Man and he's bad. And then James is like, but this guy, he got me that picture, that Jimmy Olsen. And it shows Jimmy Olsen, a faded image in the clouds.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this, I'm like, did Jimmy Olsen die?
Well, yeah.
That's what the hell? Like,
do you know what? I hadn't looked at this one. This is phenomenal.
Exactly. Like, this is what you miss when you skip the little ones. I think that the little ones are way better than the main comic.
I apologize to the listeners.
I apologize. I didn't know your game. the little stories.
This is why I could never play poker against Toby Maguire. Because I'd just get wrecks.
Are you even looking at your card? What?
I'm just here for the bar.
Yeah. And to lose my money to Toby Maguire.
Yeah.
So the one after that, again...
Do you reckon Toby Maguire would come to England to play poker with us?
I don't think we could raise the money to play him in his own living room.
Yeah, because he's got that...
He just got the Marvel bag.
He just got that Marvel money.
And not you're an actor who's joined the Marvel universe in we fucking need you for this film money.
Yeah, like we have a whole, we have an idea and it basically doesn't work if you don't join.
If we introduce Garfield, people are going to expect you and they're going to be disappointed if you don't. Like, he got that money.
Yeah.
So I don't think our pooling of our wallets is going to even register on his, is that even money? Kind of,
because we don't even have that podcast money yet.
Not yet, but
one day.
But when this takes off,
when we get that podcast money, Toby, we're coming for you.
Our goals were either interviewing Alan Moore,
yeah,
which what's less likely to happen? Interviewing Alan Moore, who would hate us, or playing poker against Toby Maguire, who would probably also hate us, but maybe he'd like to take our money. Like,
Yeah.
which is more likely. Anyway, final couple stories. One I thought was just nice. It's just a nice one, and it's Ben Parker, old Uncle Ben,
Uncle
not
Ben.
the rice one. The
He's not called Uncle Ben anymore. It's deemed to be racist. It's just Ben's now.
Oh, I mean, is it racist that he's an uncle? Is that?
Ugh.
Is there a big explanation behind it?
So
What have I done?
there is an expression which existed in the black community in America where
Uncle Tom?
Yeah, an Uncle Tom.
Right.
Um,
Okay. Yep, that makes more sense now.
and so the use of the word uncle with a very black face, I think, was deemed to be pretty racist.
Yeah.
So it is now just called Ben's.
Well, fair. Good on you, Ben. Like coming up on the.
Do you know what though? If you want rice made in a microwave, Ben's is the one.
Ben's is the best one, I think.
Ben's, write us a check.
Or come on the podcast.
Try and get
Talk
Uncle
about
Ben
rice. So Uncle Ben, turns out back in the day, he was driving through a bit of a storm in the middle of Kansas, and he happens to run into Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
And it's a simple story. It's both of them running into each other, being like, God, can you believe this weather? Oh, come in here. Like, there's a bloody hurricane over there. And then Ben's like, hang on, I hear something. And it turns out there's some people who got washed away in the river or something, and they both help them.
Yeah.
But it's just nice. And all the while through, you've got a kind of over-narration of Spider-Man and Superman talking about their dads who are technically adoptive dads, but are basically their dads.
Doing something heroic, and it realized.
Well, they don't even reference that. Like, the most it gets, they're just talking about how good they are generally.
Oh, that's lovely.
But then there's a little bit of my Uncle Ben apparently drove through Kansas at one point, years ago before I was born. So man's like, yeah, well, there's a lot of nice people there. Hopefully he met someone nice. Like, that kind of loose stuff. It's just nice. Like, it's nice.
Yeah, it's weird because, Marvel are big on real life places.
Yes, yeah.
You know, they make up the odd place, whereas DC are more big on fake places.
Yeah.
But Superman comes from Kansas.
Yeah. And
which means that, there is an America in the DC universe because Superman comes from
Oh, yeah. Gotham and Metropolis and Coast City and all the others, they are in America. They are American cities.
Because Metropolis is kind of, has strong Los Angeles vibes. But modern Los Angeles, because when it started in the 50s, Los Angeles was still a bit of a shithole, wasn't it?
I think it's more New York, because I'm the Daily Bugle being
I suppose
skyscraper in the middle. Yeah.
Metropolis is based on Manhattan, and then Gotham is Hell's Kitchen.
I think,
the rougher bits of New York.
They are those different aspects. Metropolis is daytime and Gotham is nighttime, basically.
Yeah.
But I think Gotham you could attribute a little more, crossover wise, the bad parts of New York, but also Chicago and other big cities like that, especially any with crime rates, because that's Gotham is known
I suppose
for.
The south side, but the south side of Chicago isn't tall in the way that Gotham is, because Gotham has the height that you can only really compare to New York.
Yes, so yeah, they're all amalgamations of something like a coast city would probably be closer to an LA.
Yeah,
or something
you're right.
that.
Actually, aren't you? You're so right. I was wrong.
But they're all vibes. Gotham is New York when it needs to be New York, and it's not when it doesn't need to be. And the same with Metropolis.
I suppose that's the charm of using the fake cities, whereas Marvel are kind of tied to Tom Holland goes to a deli in Queens and asks for a sandwich smushed down. He's a New Yorker.
But then there's some relatability to that more.
Yeah, totally.
The crazy thing is in the Batman v Superman film, there was revealed, and I don't think this is true in the comics or it's been kept, but Metropolis and Gotham are separated by a river or something. They're really close.
Oh.
And it's
no.
Yeah, no, it has never happened.
We've watched Superman travel from Metropolis to Gotham, and it takes him ages.
Well, yeah, I think they are just separate cities.
Yeah.
And it's always a big deal where it's oh, you've come to my neck of the woods. It's yeah, I took the boat. It's not that close. But I'm pretty sure Batman v Superman, they're considered across a river from each other or something.
That's silly.
Yeah, it's no, that's one city. A river doesn't make one city into two cities.
No.
Unless it's a weird jurisdiction kind of thing, the state line runs in the river somehow or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things wrong with that film.
Ankh-Morpork in the Discworld novels.
Yeah. I was thinking about in America where you're look, now I'm in New York, Boston, Massachusetts. I don't even know if those are next to each other or not.
And they're not.
But North Dakota, South Dakota, they're next to each other, aren't they?
Well, you'd be weird if the Dakotas weren't next to each other. Imagine if they weren't. If you're from America, please tell us if North and South Dakota are next to each other and leave a 5-star review.
Yeah, you can only tell us that if you leave a 5-star review. It's the only way that works. But yeah, so that's a nice story. And you know what? I think the best art in this one.
Yeah, it's the most interesting for sure, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know why?
Who did it?
I was going to say that. Great rain effect.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
The bloody good rain effect, isn't it?
If you're new to the podcast, Ryan loves rain.
It's a deep cut.
It's a deep...
Not rain, like the concept of rain. Great rain art and comic books.
Yeah, you like rain when it's well drawn in a comic, don't you?
Or blizzard snow, like just some kind of,
Weather. You just like weather effects.
I like the weather effects that make it look like it feels
Weather
like
is actually
oppressive
happening,
or
yeah.
suffocate. Remember was the Christmas serial killer one by JT4?
Yeah.
The snow blizzard was like so imposing on the page that it felt like it was difficult to look through. I like that kind of stuff. And this feels like the rain is an issue.
Yeah.
Like how many films you see where it's like raining, but it doesn't really affect anything, and people haven't even got like their hoods up or umbrellas up, whatever. This rain, people are like putting their like hands in front of their faces, like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, that's what I like. Anyway, good art on that one. And then there is an interesting little one, a little short story called Bias, and it is basically just J. Jonah Jameson on a debate chat show arguing with Lois Lane about the objectivity or lack of reporting Spider-Man or like reporting on superheroes in general, but the main focus is on how he constantly calls Spider-Man a menace when he's obviously a superhero. And I do like it. They do explore a little bit of like JJ's big issue with Spider-Man being the lack of accountability.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's wearing a mask. But then ironically, he talks about like people like Lois, I think, accuses him, says, oh, you just don't like superheroes. It's like, no, I like the Fantastic Four. I like Wonder Woman, I like Captain America, I like Superman. Like they show their face and they're accountable and all that bollocks.
Yeah.
But then in all that, I'm like, yeah, the first three like identities or whatever. Just because you see Superman's face, like you don't know who he is. Like you can't bill Superman for like damage, destruction or whatever.
Is Captain A publicly known?
Yeah, Steve Rogers is like a legend. Like Steve Rogers, Captain America is
I suppose
a legend from the
urban
war.
legend, isn't he? Yeah.
I mean, he's a story. He is history.
Yeah, you're right.
War
Yeah,
history.
It's a matter of historical record, and Reed Richards is very famous, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean the Fantastic Four. I mean, but yeah, I this is interesting if you just like a little bit of like little added realism to the crossover worlds and stuff. And then lastly, the one I think I was most interested and excited for, and I don't know, it's The Punisher and Power Girl.
Yeah.
And I knew as soon as I started reading this, if they get The Punisher right, I think this will be good.
Yeah, but not many people do get him right, do they? He's quite hard to write.
But then I think a minimum, like for the most part, it's about Power Girl going on a blind date, and the Punisher is pretending to be a bouncer, but he's actually going to just bust. It's a bar full of super criminals, and he's about to bust in and just kill them all anyway. Yeah. And they have a little bit of a back and forth at the door. God knows why Gail Simone who wrote this picks these characters, but here we are.
Yeah.
Power Girl's like, well, this guy, maybe if he smiled, he'd be a little cute or whatever. And I'm like, this is fun interaction stuff. Then it turns out she's going into the date, and her date is with a character named Paul. Do you know who Paul is?
No.
So Paul has become a recent, some fan favorite, some fan hatred character, because he is the character who was introduced in the Amazing Spider-Man series, drawn by one John Romita Jr.
Oh, is he the guy who's dating Mary Jane in the future? Like Peter's gone and then she's married to some other guy.
Yeah, but then they come back into the present, so he's basically known as the guy who was at a time cucking Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people hated that because it was a really bad story. But then as it kept going, I think because he was so hated by a lot of people, some other fans kind of latched onto him as ironic support of like, oh my God, Paul's here. And
I think we made that joke when we reviewed the comic.
Possibly. But it's the fact that Paul, he's continued in his infamy as a character.
Yeah.
That he's now being introduced in these, that he's like going on blind dates with Power Girl and stuff. But anyway, Punisher busts in, and turns out they think he's Vandal Savage, because he does look a bit like Vandal Savage, because they're the only two who have ponytails, like dudes with ponytails. But then they beat everyone up. And there is a classic thing whenever the Punisher teams up with anyone, where it's like, and don't kill anyone. And Punisher's like, oh. I think it's like, if it was Daredevil or Spider-Man saying it, I think he'd be like, yeah, well, try and stop me.
But she's also Kryptonian.
Whereas the Kryptonian is like, maybe I'm just going to punch people.
Maybe Kryptonian.
Yeah, we think. We don't know.
Because wasn't there she was the original Supergirl, wasn't she?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think she was the original Supergirl, and then she became Power Girl, and then they remade Supergirl as...
I think she was Supergirl in another dimension, another Earth, when they were doing like Earth 1 and 2 or 3, and then when they merged them back in, she then became Power Girl. Anyway, I thought they kind of ruined it at the end because Punisher smiles and cracks a joke about... Supergirl makes a joke about, like, Power Girl makes a joke about, well, maybe if I lost everyone I knew and I didn't cover my chest with a skull, and Punisher's like, no, that'd be a real crime, wouldn't it? And smiles. And I'm like, Punisher don't make jokes.
Yeah.
Like, rarely ever.
He's serious and
sure
dour.
as shit doesn't smile. And then Power Girl's like, well, do you want to continue this crossover somewhere more private? And I'm like, the Punisher will turn down, especially the Punisher would turn that down because he's got bad guys to kill. That is his main thing. If he's not doing that, he's prepping for that.
Do you not think, though, if you had, like, the offer of some Kryptonian...
Yeah, but again, I'm not the Punisher. What I'm saying is he would turn it down. That is the truest thing to his character.
Yeah, I mean, the question here is, has Dick Grayson fucked Power Girl? Because if he hasn't, then how has the Punisher got on there first?
In the decades they've existed, maybe they have. I don't think she's a notable, like, ex of Dick Grayson's or anything.
No, there's a few, aren't there? There's a few, like, really notable ones.
That would be a more SEO, like, episode. Like, who has Dick Grayson fucked? Or who has he been with, you know?
Do you know issue 136 of this Dick Grayson run had the alternate shirtless cover?
Oh, you tracked down which issue it was?
Yeah, 136. I went looking for a copy recently and couldn't get one.
I'm surprised there's only one issue with him.
Oh, no. There's been many.
Oh,
but 136 came out last month. And so I was like hoping that there'd still be some floating around new, not for like, grey market prices, but the only ones I could find were grey market.
I'll ask in my our local comic book shop while stressing, it's not for me, it's for a friend. Well, and I'm sure he will definitely believe that.
I was trying to get 2 copies so I could get one boarded and bring back. I was trying to buy 2 copies so I could bring one to you because I thought I would
appreciate that. Yeah,
and it was really funny because I was in Waterstones with my partner today, and she went off to go look at some like board books, like some baby books, and she was like, "I'm just gonna go do this," and I was like, "Yeah, you're fine. I'm just trying to find some panels of Dick Grayson shirtless." And then I picked up the DC compact of Dick Grayson and started flicking through it, and there was another guy browsing the comic books next to me, and he looked at me, smirked, and went back to what he was doing, and I was like, I made a Dick Grayson joke. I was going to ask you on air, actually. I was going to ask you on air, actually. The Dick Grayson DC compact, is that the one that has the really long run that we read a random issue out of that time?
I didn't even know there was
There's a Dick Grayson DC compact. I found a copy of it today, and I was going to buy it, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, no, I found it here. It's the Tom Taylor one, so yeah, that is the run. I almost certain it's not the full run, because that went on for ages. So if that's the book, that book is going to be like 3 Goblet of Fires.
Oh, dude, do you know what I also saw today? Which I was really excited about, but I didn't get it because it was really expensive and it looked like the spine would break really quickly.
Right.
It was the entirety of Chew in one big issue.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The full single issue, like the full single printing compendium of Chew.
I'd be so tempted to get that. I think
60 quid.
I'm looking at Human Target trades. Like,
oh shit,
that's about 30 quid, I think, because it's
bad.
Yeah, because it's only like 12 issues, but. So this is actually a new section of the podcast, which we've only just deliberated and confirmed now. But because we've done talk about the Punisher, I don't think he would have shagged Power Girl. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't think he would have survived it.
Oh, 100. Well, he has got the highest pain tolerance of the Marvel universe of normal people. I think that's stressing.
Basically, in a previous podcast, Ryan and I talked about the DC compacts. And we talked about which ones we were interested in picking up. Today, I discovered the Nightwing one that we weren't aware was published, and I picked a copy of it up.
Surprised you didn't buy it.
Well, I only didn't buy it because I didn't know if it was the run that we liked or if it was a different run. So when I next go back in there, I am going to pick a copy of this up.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like I just think it's such a good deal. Like fucking £9 for all of that Nightwing content.
Yeah, you should definitely try I don't think they had it in there, but definitely try the comic book shop first.
Yeah,
see
100%.
if they have it.
Well, because there's that smaller one in Norwich.
Yeah, we've got two. And I might actually go to the other one tomorrow because they were away last week when I was trying to find...
They were away last week, yeah. But he's a really nice dude. He's a really nice dude who runs a really good comic book store.
Yeah, I'll pop in.
Long boxes full of vintage stuff everywhere.
Yeah, but again, I'm going more for the compacts to not buy not take up space with the big ones. I am going to buy Human Target because I think I would like that in the big,
Are you going compendium or trade paperback?
Well, it's only 12 issues long, so it's just one
trade
thing.
Paperback.
Yeah,
how much is a trade paperback for that?
Apparently, I saw different figures, so around 30 quid.
Is that grey market or brand new?
I don't know. When you just cursory Google something and you see a bunch of options, but and again, it's like my favorite comic of all time, so I kind of need to get that.
I've definitely got like issues of Y knocking around, but I don't have a full...
That compendium's going to be ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but they have the DC compact version, and I think that's the full story, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if it is the full story, because that was a lot of issues. So
yeah, it was like 7 volumes, wasn't it?
Yeah, volume collects just issues 1 to 10. So yeah,
that's not a lot, is it?
Yeah. But again, there was a lot of comics in that run. The only ones longer than that are than like long ass mangas or the main runs in Batman.
Oh my god! When we talked about the Muashi Ronin, oh god, what's it called?
Vagabond.
Yeah, I read like 400 issues of that. I read so much fucking Vagabond.
Yeah,
because I was just plowing through it. I was just plowing through it in my free time. Like, it's just something that I was reading.
I was considering getting the Invincible compendium.
And dude, that's going to be hench, though, because that ran for like a decade or something.
Yeah, no, that's, decade plus. That is a ridiculous, size. Like,
do you know what though? But how much is that on the grey market at the moment?
I'm looking up pictures on Google Images, and I've only seen one. Maybe they've only made them 1 to 3. No, they definitely released the full thing already.
They have to have done.
Yeah,
it's Robert Kirkman's second most popular.
It's more popular now, and it's one of the highest selling comics now. No, it's one of the highest selling comics now because people are seeing the TV. Obviously, people see
Is it still
going? TV show. Yeah, TV show still. It's airing right now.
No, is the comic book still going?
No, that ended 10ish years ago or so.
Right, so it is fully done.
But the appeal is if people see Marvel or DC or whatever, and then where do I start? As we've talked about, and people have to be well, you could start here with these graphic novels, or you can start with this run.
Whereas with Invincible, it's just one
Invincible issue 1 of Invincible. That's where you start. Yeah. There's no fuss around it. So because it's so easy,
good as well.
Oh yeah, but because it's so easy to get into, that's why people are just picking it up and buying it and reading it. So how much of the eBay initial cost? The entire thing, £400.
That's grey market, so it's going to be a little bit less, but that's not terrible.
But it's not coming up on any other obvious. I mean, you can buy it piece by piece on Amazon, but
well, that's going to cost you much more than that. But so I buy fewer comics than I do books because they just take up so much more space. But they're nice to have, aren't they? That's the point.
That's why I'm so attracted to the DC compacts and stuff.
Yeah, because
Marvel have been making some as well. They're called collectors or collected editions.
I've not seen them anywhere.
Well, for one thing, they've done a bad job of getting them out. DC have done loads, but they're picking really odd choices for them. They did a Fantastic Four one, which was the Hickman run, but it's just a couple of issues from this series and issues from this series, and it's that's not a good thing to make a isolated collection of. Whereas DC, they are more well known for their limited runs, Killing Joke, Batman Hush. Even though that took place in a running thing, you can still be the story starts here and ends here,
and here it is. Bang.
Exactly. Yeah. So Marvel, they've done some good ones. Born Again, Daredevil, that's a but even
that's a classic one.
Yeah. Welcome Home Frank, the Punisher story, again, starts and ends, and then it's done. But yeah, they've done not as good a job. Even they have better stories they could make those out of. But yeah, so hopefully I'm going to be looking to get a DC compact a month. So
yeah, we'll
see which one I get next one.
Yeah,
got to decide which one I'm going to get. I'm not even going to. I've got some ideas, but I think I'm going to go into the comic book store, see what they've got, and then pick one.
Because I reread, because you gave me on air the Supergirl one. I reread a chunk of it recently and enjoyed it just as much the second time around.
Still holds up.
Still holds up. Still really good. And that was an early episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. I might get one that might be a good one for us to cover. And what I might have to do is buy the book, read it myself, and then like drive past yours and like throw it out your window.
Yeah.
Well,
because there's something I really want to do for the Patreon when we set it up. And if you would like to hear this episode, let us know, because we will make the fucking Patreon and we'll put it up. But it's Haruki Murakami is one of my favorite writers. And he wrote a short story in response to the Tokyo earthquake in 95. And they just put out a beautiful, fully illustrated hardback edition of that story. And I bought it and reread it and was like, story still totally holds up. The illustrations are gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to throw a copy of that, do the same thing with a copy of that for you, because I know you'll like it.
Yeah. Basically, there's a bunch of stuff that I think we'd like to do episodes about, and we think would be really interesting, but won't do as well for like, there's a lot of people, we know from the statistics and the online information, the feedback and whatever, we know there's a lot of people who occasionally dip into an episode depending on what we're covering.
What
we know
about.
that's the case.
Yeah.
So it's like, we are still trying to be like, is this one going to get people to, click and listen? Because that's the game we're in, baby, and all that. So, yeah, there's a lot of obscure stuff which I think we'd like to do, but we'd like to save it for like, hey, look, if you just like hearing us talk about anything and everything, like, we think you will find this interesting, but you have to trust us to take a chance to listen to us talking about it,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, the last thing, because we've gone way long. I thought we were going to do an hour.
Yeah, we've gone long.
So the last thing to mention is a comment which came through on Spotify. And
Can I read it?
It was worth mentioning. I'm going to read this one because you read the last couple.
Okay.
And it's close to my heart where they get into. But it's from one Lance Ariata, who is a frequent commenter. Thank you for your input. And they referenced the Iron Man Extremis, said, when I think Iron Man the Extremis armor is what pops in my head, and that's how good of a design it is. As we said, it influenced the MCU and everything. They also say, apparently, also, Marvel 2008 was the best Marvel that we did. And you know what? I think I agree. I don't remember everything we did back then, but I do remember it being a good year. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lance. It's always lovely to hear from you.
You remember 2008? That was the death of Captain America. We covered in
death
that
of
Marvel.
Captain A, yeah, absolutely.
And Ultimate Spider-Man, Bendis' run was going on before Miles Morales took over.
Yeah,
So,
we loved it.
Those were some good days for Marvel back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Right,
Anyway.
I need to go parent. But thank you for listening. It's been a wonderful episode. I've had a lovely time.
Please tune again next week to find out other ways we'll be gaslighting Jamie, obviously.
And also, please leave a 5-star review specifically for the little pieces of music that we've put into the podcast and the outro music that you might be hearing soon.
And to correct us on any things we got wrong about America. Exactly.
Cheers, bye.
Right? And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe to get notified of our future episodes as well. And if you're feeling particularly generous, then please leave a 5-star review on whatever podcast app you're using. If you'd like to get in contact with us, then send an email to comiclear@gmail.com. You can also watch videos by me on the Comic Stand YouTube page, which is linked in the description. Thank you, goodbye.